And amid signs of an improvement in the global economy, the labour market is yet to recover in a big way. And to update us on how the executive jobs market in the region is doing is Guy Day of the Ambition Group, a regional recruitment company. Thanks so much for joining us, Guy. Can you tell us, is the executive jobs market in the region on recovery mode?
I think it probably is. We certainly felt in the second half that that period turned out a good deal better than most of us would have anticipated this time a year ago. And certainly in the last quarter, if we look at our own job numbers, they're climbing quite encouragingly across some sectors, and we're reasonably optimistic that 2010 is going to be a better year, obviously contingent on the sustainability of the recovery. But there's more employers coming to market now, and there's certainly more job seekers out there approaching us about their job search in the new year, and we suspect a nice pickup after Chinese New Year.
More employers coming to the market, but are they still cautious in offering contract employment only?
Well, there's certainly some employers offering contract roles still, but they're less popular than permanent jobs, and there's more permanent jobs about. So the very best candidates naturally will gravitate towards a permanent job offer as opposed to a contract offer. Contract recruitment by nature is less risky for employers, so it's still a popular means. But more and more as we go through the year, we're going to expect to see more and more permanent jobs coming through.
And what are the jobs that are likely to see huge demand this year?
I think we've got to be careful not to overstate things. I'm not sure it's going to be huge demand. I think we'll see modest pickups this year, but probably nothing on the scale of 2007 or the early part of 2008. But the banking and financial services sector is going to lead the way. And we're going to see evidence within those categories, within the likes of back office and support areas. Banking operations is going to be quite popular again because that was one of the first to be hit. Back office finance roles, marketing communications, corporate communications type roles will certainly be quite active.
And what about remunerations and bonuses? Are employers paying below pre-crisis levels?
Well, I don't think base pay has moved really at all in the last 2 years. Obviously, some companies reduce base pay, but on the whole, most froze pay, and so base pay hasn't really moved. So on that basis, we're still as we were. What has obviously come down are the bonus levels. So they're significantly lower than they were previously. Obviously, there's a lot of talk about bonuses in the last 6 to 12 months, and there are going to be some segments of the financial services markets that will pay respectable bonuses this year. But on the whole, most people are going to be worse off post-crisis than pre-crisis.
Okay, and are employers restoring back the housing, medical and travel benefits that were cut during the financial crisis?
I think those sorts of benefits have been cut for some time. I mean, there were efforts underway prior to the financial crisis to eliminate those sorts of perks. Most people as a standard policy would have healthcare as part of their packages, but housing and travel allowances, it's very rare other than for expatriate packages, and even then at the most senior level of expatriates who might be moved from other parts of their organisation to Asia. Amongst the rank and file of people here in Singapore and places like Hong Kong, expatriate packages and attractive fringe benefits like housing are less and less evident.
And what about the recruitment criteria set by employers now? Are they more stringent than before?
I think without question. I think an awful lot of employers feel they've learnt mistakes from making poor hiring decisions prior to the crisis. So naturally they're keen to make amends, I guess. Generally recruitment processes are quite long at the moment, and the bar is set pretty high. So I think from an employer standpoint there's still quite a lot of caution, and it's important that they make the right decision and are seen to make the right decision. The cost of a poor hiring decision at this stage in the economic cycle can have quite significant implications.
Okay, so still quite cautious out there. But what are the skill shortages facing Asia at the moment?
I think skill shortages is one of those questions that has been discussed for many, many years here in Asia, and I think it's a structural challenge as much as anything else. Where we see the issue most acutely is probably at the middle senior level, at the C-level search areas, chief executive, CFO, chief marketing officer, a real shortage of local talent in those leadership roles. But across the board, really, we see challenges in hiring most positions, particularly trying to find local talent. So most of our searches involve local, regional and often international searches.
And Guy, the jobs that were lost during the financial crisis, are they gone for good?
Not necessarily. I mean, there is obviously a good number of companies that have undergone restructures, and they will re-recruit perhaps a different shape, size and cost of individuals. So those jobs may have gone from that organisation to good, but other organisations may have created similar type roles that would offset that. There's certainly a bit of talk about offshoring, so there are some jobs that have moved from places like Singapore and Hong Kong to India, but we tend to find these offshoring issues tend to come full cycle. Singapore had a big push towards attracting these sorts of jobs some years ago, and the cost environment here with the cost of business property coming down may attract organisations to bring some of these jobs back.
Okay, thanks so much, Guy. So a positive outlook for 2010, but a cautious one at the same time. And that was Guy Day, Regional Managing Director of the Mission Group.
Yeah, I know when it comes to jobs, everyone's weighing on the cautious side because you never quite know how the markets are going to go. But good to hear they're coming back.